Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Now, from the world's most famous beach, from where beach racing began, it's the Legends of Racing radio show. Live from racing's North Turn Beach Bar and Grill in Ponce Inlet, Florida. The Legends of Racing radio show. And your host, Buzz McKim.
Oh, thank you so much, folks. This is a red letter day for all of us. We have as a special guest none other than the legendary, I could use that term, right? Legendary?
Whatever you want.
Okay, all right. Legendary Mr. Ron Rice. How about that? Founder of Hawaiian Tropic. And this is awesome. You know, as a kid growing up in Daytona, and I think I can speak for most any kid growing up in Daytona, we all wanted to grow up to be you. We thought you had probably about the coolest lifestyle of anybody we ever saw.
We enjoyed life, yes we did.
Oh yeah, but now you weren't native to the beach though. You're actually from parts north, aren't you?
The mountains of North Carolina originally,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went to college at University of Tennessee after flunking out of a whole bunch of colleges. And I wasn't a very good student, but then I moved to Daytona Beach and became a lifeguard and a football coach and a school teacher. I taught chemistry and physics in school. Mm-hmm. And it just evolved. I was sitting up on the tower one day looking out, running out, saving people, and I thought, well, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? I don't know what to do. So I looked around, I saw surfboards, and I saw floats, and I saw bathing caps, and people with beach blankets, and all of a sudden I saw suntan lotion. I thought, there's not much going on there. It's kind of a dead items out there right now. The only thing out there really of any significance was a product called Coppertone. You may know that one. And then another one called Sea and Ski that's just about dead now in today's world. But some of you may remember Sea and Ski, and there was nothing much else. A few little upstart products coming out of Miami, and that's where I got the idea. And I went back in my high school chemistry lab. I mixed up my own little batches of product and took it out on the beach, and we put a little bit of X on one arm and a little bit of Y on another arm, and see what people like the best. And that's how Hawaiian Tropic got started. Very humble, very small. The money I made, what little bit of money I made teaching school was $4,300 a year.
Holy.
I mean, I know people. I've got good friends that make that much in an hour, or maybe more.
Yeah, well, we were a Sea and Ski family until Hawaiian Tropic came out, and then we saw the light. Yeah, definitely. It worked out well. And you being fair-skinned, man, that Hawaiian Tropic sure came in handy.
Well, I was 9 years, lifeguarding for 9 years, and we didn't have much of anything to protect us. So it was tough.
Yep. But your marketing plan was so simple and so effective. It was just amazing how you go from pool deck to pool deck and promote it just one piece at a time.
That was a big thing in the early days. The lifeguards on the pools was a big thing. That's kind of really how we got our start as far as growing in the early days. Because it'd have been really tough to go into the stores without any people asking for the product at all. But because of the lifeguards on the pools, and on the pools in Daytona Beach alone, just Daytona alone, there was probably maybe as many as 30 swimming pools and 30 lifeguards.
Right.
And of course they were selling it bottle by bottle and making money bottle by bottle and doing very well with it because we could manufacture it at a very low price back then. In today's world, manufacturing costs have gone up tremendously. So, but we got our new product out now. It's called Havana Sun.
There it is, right there.
Right here, we got 7 items, and we're taking advantage of when they finally opened up Cuba. And of course, Castro's dead now. He has 4 sons. We work with one of his sons named Alex, and he helps us a little bit in Cuba, but Cuba's not really our market. Our market is Florida and the whole world as far as that goes. So when I look back the way we're only in our second year with Havana Sun. So when I look back at Hawaiian Tropic in its second year, we are light years ahead of where we were back then in our second year. And it's kind of crazy to think about it, because back then I was stirring with a broom handle in a 20-gallon galvanized garbage can, and that was the way it was. I had no money. My school, the money I made from school, paid for the galvanized garbage can and the broom handle. I think the garbage can cost me $4 and the broom cost me $1 or less.
It's what you call humble beginnings, right?
Oh, it was really, really humble.
But everything just kind of, you were the right guy at the right time with the right product. Everything fell into place. Your promotion worked out so well. And then you got into the beauty pageant business.
Well, that came later. I guess my really only good trait, or trait that I consider what created what happened, was I can read people very well, and I had a really, really fine group of people working for me. And I could give you some names, but the names don't mean anything to you. But I had a whole staff, and it grew and it grew. We eventually, before I sold the company in '07, we had over 2,000 people working for Hawaiian Tropic worldwide. Wow. And about 700 or 800 were here in Daytona Beach. And a lot of those were people that worked in our factory up in Ormond Beach on US 1. And then in '07, I sold the company and did very well with it. I'm very happy with it. So that's kind of a thumbnail sketch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We have one of your old neighbors here, Jim Price, and his father, Don, had their shop right next door to you there, and they used to maintain all your vehicles back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
right next door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got one local person here, huh?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so was there a day when you woke up one morning and said, holy cow, I think we're really onto something here?
Well, you know, I really, all I had to risk, the only risk was time. And really, when you look at it, time is the only thing you have in your whole life. You have a little bit of time, and then you're gone. And so I risked my time to make this product work, because I had nothing else going other than teaching school and coaching football. I love football, had a great time, but I made no money, very little money. So it was kind of a labor of love, you might say.
Yeah, really. Now, did you teach at Seabreeze?
I taught at almost every school here in this area.
Really?
Started at Mainland.
All right.
Went to 2 years at Holly Hill Junior. Then I was at Campbell Senior, which had a great football team.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the last year before integration. And then I went from there to Coral Gables High School in Miami. Really? We had the #1 team in the nation a year. And then I came back and coached 2 years at Father Lopez and 2 years at Seabreeze. So I jumped around school to school.
Yeah, well, it's nice to know that you actually had worked at my alma mater, Mainland.
Mainland was?
Yeah, that was my school, too. Not that there's any rivalry between Seabreeze and Mainland.
Well, there used to be big rivalry.
Yeah, they used to get pretty serious about that. Yeah, but I mean, I so admire your marketing plan, the way it all fell together. Personally, I couldn't sell hookers on a troop train, you know. Really. And some folks are just born with that gift that you know people, you know your product, and you've got the confidence to go ahead.
That's a tough way to go.
Yeah, really. Well, you know, back when I was a kid, we used to have all these goofy things we used to have to sell for school. And I just didn't care to do that. Go door to door, trying to sell raffle tickets and all that stuff. And we were forced into it. It was child labor is what it was. You know.
Illegal.
Yeah, that's right. So, man, my dad was a great salesman, but it never rubbed off on us kids, you know.
What kind of work did he do?
You name it.
Oh, yeah. Well.
Yeah, he was a DJ, a race announcer, an insurance salesman. He had a paint and body shop.
I probably knew him.
Yeah, you might have. Yeah, he could do everything but shepherd. And he wasn't a steeplejack either. Those are about the only two things he never did. Yeah. Wow. Very interesting fellow, though. That's for sure. Well, we're going to take a break here for just a second and give a little due to our lovely sponsors. And we'll be back in just a minute with Ron Rice.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Welcome to Homewood Suites by Hilton in Daytona Beach. You're right in the middle of all the action. Daytona International Speedway, the airport, One Daytona, Florida's newest entertainment and retail destination, and of course, the world's most famous beach. You'll love our newly remodeled 1- and 2-bedroom suites, along with our popular King Studios. You won't need your full kitchen, as Homewood Suites Daytona serves up complimentary breakfast and evening social. It's like home away from home. Go to HomewoodDaytona.com for Homewood Suites by Hilton in Daytona Beach. We're back from where it all began, racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim.
You're on.
Thank you very much, folks. And we're here at the beautiful North Turn restaurant on the beautiful North Turn of beautiful Daytona Beach. This beach really owes you a lot, doesn't it?
Well, I don't know that. I think I owe it. I owe Daytona Beach.
Yeah, but what's nice, too, is through Hawaiian Tropic, you were one of the great folks of the area that kept that name Daytona Beach in the national spotlight, world spotlight, really. 24, 20, what is it? 24, what the hell is it? What am I trying to say? 24 hours a day, 24/7. That's right. I was never good with math, you know. Yeah, but now, how in the world did you get involved with NASCAR? Were you a race fan from early on?
That's a good question, really. I guess the start came. People would come to my office all the time with ideas. You got to do this. You got to do that, and you just all kinds of crazy ideas. But every one of them were going to cost me money, and that's the one thing we didn't have. We had plenty of incentive and everything, but no money. So I had a guy come to my office who you all may well remember. His name was Neil Bonnet.
Oh, gosh.
And what a great guy he was. I mean, not only a great driver, but he came out of Hueytown, Alabama. He came out of where Donnie Allison and Bobby Allison and all they call them the Alabama gang, where they came from. And Neil had no money. He had a little old beat-up car, a yellow car. And so he talked me into, I just hit it off with him really from the very start, because he is such a great guy. He's not with us anymore. He got himself, I guess he got killed in an automobile accident or a race accident. I'm not real sure.
Yeah, here at Daytona in '94.
Was that what it was?
Yep.
But Neil, we ran with Neil for a year. We put a Wayne Tropic all over that yellow car. And he was always a hard charger. He was always up front, just like Donnie Allison after him. But Neil got so famous so quick that he got a better ride and more money real within the first year, because he did so well with us. But we got a lot of publicity and promotion out of that during that first year. And then right behind him came Donnie Allison, and that's Bobby's younger brother. And Donnie was a hard charger. I mean, if the car was running, we were always in the top 5. Always in the top 5. If the car wasn't running, well, that's a whole nother thing. But we had a guy that was the engine builder, and his name was Runt Pittman. You might remember that name. He went on and worked with Sterling Marlin in later years. We didn't know what we had. He's an 18-year-old kid, and he knew more about cars and engines than most people, older mechanics, had forgotten.
That's right.
He was brilliant, and he still is, and he's still out there building engines right now. Hoast Ellington was the team commander, and he lived up in North Carolina. And Donnie was the driver, and we had an entire crew was not paid. Nobody was paid. It was all volunteers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
And they did it out of love, just out of love. And we were, like I said, we were always, if the car's running, we're in the top 5. And we're up there with Richard Petty, Cale Yarborough, just on and on and on, all the drivers you know, and hear about all the time. We were always running with them. So it was an amazing time going from Neil Bonnet to Donnie Allison. And then there was a falling out between Donnie Allison and Hoast Ellington, and so he told me, Hoast came to me and said, we're going to have to change drivers. He said, and just now I was looking over the pit. Well, I stayed down in the pits most of the time, and I saw David Pearson come in for a pit stop, and he was having trouble with his team owners and so on too. And I'll never forget, Pearson came in and stopped, and they changed tires. They gave him 4 new tires, but for some reason they didn't put the lug nuts back on. He takes off out of the pit, and all 4 tires go flying off, and the tires are ahead of the car flying down the road.
Now, that could be embarrassing.
Oh, I'm looking at it. I'm watching these tires, 4 tires come flying by me, and here's Pearson back to my right, and the tires are flying, and one of the tires jumps over the wall and nearly hits somebody. It was dangerous. And so then they came and they got a flatbed, and they picked his car up and put it up on the flatbed. And I'll never forget him coming by me on the back side of the pits, and he's got his hands on the wheel, and he's holding on tight, and he's got the look on his face like he's going to kill somebody. He's holding onto that steering wheel, and they take him all the way back to the garage, and that was the end of his racing for that particular team. We hired him the next day.
Wow.
We went to Darlington and won the very first race under a Wayne Tropic car with David Pearson. Really good. He didn't last long with us because we couldn't afford him. He was just too good. So then after that, all this time I was tied in with Burt Reynolds and Hal Needham, and they did a series of movies that I was involved with. I was involved with all 4 Smokey and the Bandits. You remember those movies?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Great ones. Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. We'd load the girls up, load all the Wayne Tropic girls up in a van and go down, head down to Jupiter where Burt lived, and just party with Burt for day after day. You know, he was quite the guy. And then we let's see, we did after the 4 Smokey and the Bandits, we did 2 Cannonball Runs.
Oh,
Remember Cannonball Runs?
Oh yeah, great.
And by
stuff.
that time I'd made some money, so I bought a Lamborghini. And then I loaned it to Burt Reynolds and Hal Needham to use in the movie. The car you see in Cannonball Run is my car. And
I'll be darned.
Adrian Barbeau and Tara Buckman drove that car in the movie. Remember, they'd get out of the car and go up on the sign and mark out the 55 speed limit and put in 155. I drove that car to 185, so I know it'll easily do it. Only one time.
Wow. Yeah, so Hollywood kind of came calling then. I remember you were involved in it. Yeah, Hollywood had come calling then, hadn't it?
Well, yes, and Hollywood, we wanted to be known as the product of Hollywood, and with Burt, and Burt helped us a lot along the way. After Cannonball Run, Burt did a TV series called B.L. Stryker.
Oh yeah.
Which we worked with him. We got to be really good friends with Alfie Wise. And Alfie was one of the kind of the funny guys, and always around Burt because Burt liked to have a funny guy around him to keep his spirits up, you know. And then after B.L. Stryker, Burt did a movie up in I guess it was all over Florida and up into South Carolina. It was called Stroker Ace.
Oh yeah.
You remember that movie?
Yeah.
Well, it started out being called Stand on It. That was the name that they picked to start with. And Alfie Wise went out and spent thousands of dollars on these nice jackets that said Stand on It, all on front and back. And then Burt changes the name of the movie to Stroker Ace. Alfie was mad. He was really mad. But he gave the jackets away to everybody just the same. So if you got one of those Stand on It jackets, that's worth something, yeah.
I'll be darned. That was a great movie too. A lot of fun. Awful lot of fun.
And then after that, we got with Burt, and we did a lot of things with Burt Reynolds. He was a great guy to work with, and Hal Needham, who was the #1 stuntman in the world. And we did a show called Driven. It was filmed mostly in Canada, and Rennie Harlan, who was married to Gina Davis, great director, great cinematographer. Rennie did the movie called Driven. You might remember Burt Reynolds and Stallone, Sylvester.
Yep.
Were in that movie, and we had a lot of fun filming that with them. We went up to Canada and we worked with them on the filming of these movies. I had my people in line. They took care of the making of the product and selling the product, and I could go play and have fun, you know, and this was what I did.
Yeah.
So we then Bert comes along and he says to me, I want you to sponsor something else for me and with me. And I said, okay, whatever you want, you got it. He came up with the idea, and he tied in Skull Bandit. You know, remember the Skull Bandit car?
Right.
Lou Bannell was the owner of U.S. Tobacco at that time. Mm-hmm. So we got the Skull Bandit Hawaiian Tropic race car. We've got Billy Myers drag car out of Texas. Billy Myers was really, really a great drag racer. We had a Can-Am car, and I cannot remember the name of the driver of our Can-Am car. And then Bert wanted one more thing. He said, I have a bunch of girls that are friends of mine, and they play in a softball team. We're going to sponsor them, too. So we had 4 teams going, and the last one was the girls' softball team. And that was down in Jupiter, Florida.
Well, anything that you guys got into, you did well. Like Billy Myers won the Winter Nationals in '81.
Billy did well.
Right?
Yeah,
And,
great guy, too.
And then how about that? Oh, you know what? We're going to take a break for a second, but we have to go. When we come back, we're going to go across the ocean and talk about one of your projects. We'll be right back, folks.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Racing's original North Turn is our broadcast headquarters. If you're looking for a good drink, great entertainment, and the best in food, they're right on the beach at Racing's original North Turn. Rhonda and Walt invite you to come on down to dinner tonight. Here are a couple of testimonials. These are actual testimonials from people who have enjoyed the North Turn. Been there many times, always great food and drinks, great location on the beach. And another, what a great experience. It's my new favorite restaurant in the Daytona Beach area, Racing's Original North Turn on South Atlantic Avenue. That's A1A in Ponce Inlet, about 3.2 miles south of the Dunlawton Bridge and A1A intersection. It's Racing's Original North Turn, a restaurant, museum, bar, gift shop, live music. That's Racing's North Turn. Racing's North Turn has been voted by you top 10 beach bar 7 years in a row. Next year, they're going for top 5. We're back from where it all began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim.
And Ron Rice. You know, it seemed like everything you touched just worked out so well. Like when you formed the team with Hoast and Donnie, you know, they won the pole for their very first race they ever ran together, which was the Daytona 500. And then they backed it up with a pole at Rockingham. This is back in '77. And y'all ran 54 races together between '77 and early '80. Had 3 wins, 4 poles, 30 top 10s. Over half the races they ran were top 10 finishes, 24 top 5. So, like you said, you were always there. Everybody knew that you were chomping on their butts. But in '79, you all went to Le Mans. Can you tell that story?
78, actually.
78.
Well, you're right. You're right. It was 79. I'm sorry.
Right.
We did the Cannes Film Festival in '78. We kind of tied the two together. We'd go to Cannes, France in May for the Cannes Film Festival. Y'all know what that is. Mm-hmm. And then 2 weeks later, we'd come back again, bring some of the same girls, the ones that worked out well at Cannes. We brought them back for Le Mans. And we put them in bikinis and let them walk up and down the track at Le Mans. Le Mans, to me, is probably the premier race in the world. It outdoes Indianapolis. It outdoes Daytona. Hate to say that with all you NASCAR fans, but Le Mans race is, if you ever get a chance, go see it. It's just amazing. And do it right. Get yourself a place up in the grandstands of Le Mans. They do it so well, and it's such an incredible race. And you got drivers from all over the world. U.S. drivers come in, but most of them are European drivers, all over the Nordic countries, all over Germany and Italy, and some of the greatest drivers that you probably never heard of. But just the same, Le Mans is something to see. It really is. And we did it every year. We won the first 2 years we went to. We won the race in '79. We won the race in '80. And then we didn't win again the whole time.
I'll be darned.
we thought all we had to do was go there and we'd win. We'd have it. But no, it didn't work out. But the first 2 years, it was great. And Paul Newman was my driver in '80, I think it was. And he did a good job. And we had every car has 3 drivers. So we had a really good bunch. Rolf Stommelin was probably our #1 driver. German driver. He called him the Rabbit. He was so fast, and nobody could catch him. But Le Mans is really something to see.
And Paul Newman really was a first-class race driver, wasn't he?
He was good. He was good. He didn't drive all that many hours because we used Rolf most of the time. But like I said, it's 24 hours, so you got to change drivers about every 2 to 3 hours.
And Paul always drew attention no matter where he went.
Oh yeah.
That couldn't have hurt too much.
No, that was publicity. And then winning the race with Newman. Then after we left there, we went to Watkins Glen up in New York, and we raced our same car, the same Porsche. And by the way, that Porsche that we ran in Le Mans that Newman drove, and he also drove at Watkins Glen. Y'all know who Adam Carolla is?
Oh yeah,
Adam Carolla. He just bought that car for $4.2 million.
Oh Lord.
Here's a car that probably originally cost $50,000 at the most. He paid $4.2 million just sitting in his garage out in Los Angeles. I saw it just a few months ago out there.
Wow. Yeah, where are these guys when I'm trying to sell something? They're never around. It's just
well, I found out one thing. It's a whole lot easier to buy something than it is to sell something.
You're exactly right. But your pageants were, they're just world famous. They go down into the folklore almost, but very interesting. I was reading up on the winner of the 2000 Miss Hawaiian Tropic International, lady named Mary Dufault from Canada.
Yeah, from Canada.
Yeah, and now she's a race driver. She's racing now. She's a race driver.
I heard that.
Yeah, she's racing in ARCA. In fact, she might possibly be in the ARCA race today at Pocono. But
her name is Mary Eve.
Mary Eve.
Yeah.
And how about that? You go from Hawaiian Tropic Beauty Contest winner to race car driver. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, now, you've had a lot of interesting folks come through this area over the years. It seems like one of your very best buddies was a guy named Benny Hill.
Benny was great.
Yeah, you remember Benny Hill? Crazy guy, comedian, what a character. He seemed to work with you a lot, didn't he?
He was the same in life as he was on the screen.
Really?
Exactly the same. He didn't change a bit. He had more energy than you can imagine. He died early. He died young, which never should have happened. But in fact, the day he died was an Easter Sunday, and he was trying to get away from his doctors and get on a plane to come here to Daytona to be one of our super VIP guests, judges, whatever. And he just loved being here with the girls. And he had never been to the U.S. before when he came here.
Is that right? Yeah. I'll be darned. Yeah, I know you're so philanthropic, too, and helping out with different charities and things. Years ago, you used to host the Oil Barons Ball for the American Cancer Society.
That's right.
In fact, my family was involved in several of those, and some of the people that were involved in that were pretty remarkable. It's really a who's who of Hollywood and, the sports world and everything. And we developed a mutual friendship with a buddy of yours, John Voldstead. If you remember.
John, yeah.
John was the other brother, Daryl, on the Newhart show, the blonde-headed fella.
That's right.
And he's one of those guys that just fell right in with the charity work that Ron did so much with. And he's just a first-class guy. He's working now at the NASCAR Hall of Fame up in Charlotte.
South Carolina?
Yeah, North Carolina, right in Charlotte.
Oh, Charlotte,
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, John's quite a guy. But is there one moment, this is going to be tough, though. Is there one moment that stands out above all the rest in your career? I just can't even imagine what that would be.
Boy. No, there's so many. It's hard to say. We had so many. We called them major victories, MV, major victories. That's when we did something with the Hawaiian Tropic that was unique, and but it'd be hard to pick one moment. Really, there's so many.
Yeah, really. Well, everything was a success, though. Everything you did was a success.
Well, maybe not everything, but a lot. I mean, I was like I tell people, if I hadn't lived through it, I would never believed it could have happened.
Really.
And that's so true. So true.
Is there a autobiography coming out one of these days?
They're doing a book right now. The book's about 75% finished.
Really?
And then we're working with another group. You might remember Alan Cohen, who lived here in town and owned the Plaza Hotel. Some of the others, his parents. They're getting ready to do a video documentary.
Wow, that ought to be something.
So it's in the works.
Yep. And you still live in that magnificent house up on A1A?
I built that myself.
Yeah.
Took 5 years to build.
Did it really?
Yeah.
It's like something out of this world. You got some ideas from Hugh Hefner on that one too, didn't you?
A little bit. A little bit. I tried to do some of the things that he did, but it didn't work. Like build a grotto. You can't have a grotto in Florida.
You can't. Oh.
Copperheads.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That would be a deterrent.
You don't want to be swimming around a grotto with copperheads and snakes dwindling around. No, so we didn't do that. We didn't do that part.
Yeah. Now, when you were going to the university and all that, did you play sports, or were you there strictly to study?
Yeah, I played football.
Yeah.
I played football ever since I was a little kid. That was the only thing my dad would let me do. Was either my dad was a big hunter and fisherman, and I had to, on the weekends, or any time there was any free time, I had to go hunt with them, with my brother and my dad, or work on this house. We built our own house up on top of a mountain. My dad was a building engineer for the largest rayon nylon company in the world called American Inca up in Asheville, North Carolina. And I could build on the house. I could carry rocks up to the top of the mountain. We lived in a 2-story log cabin on the side of the mountain. So up on top of the mountain, he saved that space for his dream house. And it was a solid North Carolina granite structure. In fact, if you look at the house I live in now, the one I built here, it's made of the same North Carolina granite that was in that house there. And he spent his entire life building that house. The whole family, we'd get up, we'd go work into the late nights building that house until we finally got it finished. And then all of a sudden, the state of North Carolina came through and decided they were going to put a freeway right through our mountain.
Man, really?
Highway 40, an offshoot of Highway 40 up in Asheville, North Carolina. And so they pushed the house over and down the side of the hill.
Jeez.
And the only happiness he got out of that was knowing that it really was hard for them to tear that house down. It was so well built, so strong.
Well, what a tragedy.
And he told me so. He told me that. And I sent my guys, my workers and my trucks up to North Carolina to bring back that stone. I wanted the actual stone that was in that house.
Really?
And a lot of the stone that was in that house is in my house right now. And then I ordered another few 100,000 tons from North Carolina, and we're getting it off the Cherokee Indian Reservation, and they got in trouble. The Indians are going to come scalp them. And they said, "Oh my God!" He said, "Well, this rock's just sitting here. Can we have it?" And he said, "Oh, you got to go before the tribal council and get their approval." So he did, and they said, "Sure, all you do is ask. You can have all the stone you want." You know? So they loaded on rail cars, they loaded it in trucks, and trucked it down here, and that way I built, and took 5 years to build the house I'm in right now, just north of Grenada on A1A.
It is really a show place, and you use it a lot for functions for groups, things like that, fundraisers.
We have in the past.
Yeah, really nice, good stuff. Yeah, so you're talking about Donnie. We've heard interesting stories about the times that you guys worked together that didn't make it into Donnie's biography. And it'd be interesting to do a little behind the scenes of what that racing team was like, because Hoast Ellington was a little crazy anyway.
He was.
Yeah, he was always good for a good quote.
He was fun to deal with.
Oh man, well, they asked him what did he think about when Janet Guthrie drove the World 600 at Charlotte, 600 miles for the first woman to run at Charlotte. And he said he wasn't impressed. He said it only showed that you didn't need gonads to run 600 miles. He was bad about that.
He was quite a character.
Oh, boy. And he was an incredible engineer, too. His daughter had loaned some items to the NASCAR Hall of Fame that Hoast had developed, like a special carburetor plates that were in separate pieces that they would slide to open the holes. And you could not detect where the work had been done. It was phenomenal. And he was full of all that kind of stuff. And, you know, his deal was it ain't cheating unless you get caught.
That was probably Runt Pittman that did that.
Yeah, Runt was brilliant. He's still around today, too, Runt is. Yeah, Hoss is gone now, but you always had a party when Hoss was around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to take another break here for just a minute or two. We're about halfway through, and be back in just a minute with Ron Rice.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. At Beach Boys Embroidery and Tees, it's all about making you happy. Beach Boys Embroidery can customize your athletic golf apparel, caps, hats, badges, buttons, magnets, backpacks, bags, totes, clocks, watches, and of course, T-shirts. Sure, they're at 2033 South Ridgewood Avenue in South Daytona, and they're waiting for you to call now. 386-255-5880. Beach Boys Embroidery and Tees. We're back from where it all began, racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim.
Thank you, folks. We're here today with Ron Rice at the North Turn Restaurant. Ron was the developer of Hawaiian Tropic and involved in all sorts of racing over the years. Offshore powerboat racing?
We did a little bit of that, but not much. I didn't see an advantage to advertising to the sharks and the dolphins.
They don't buy suntan lotion, do they?
Yeah, no.
How about air races? Airplane races?
Not much.
No.
No, we didn't do much of that at all.
Keep it on the ground.
We did have a sailboat crew that had the name of our product going up and down the beach. We had like eight sailboats, 8 Hobie Cats going up and down. In fact, we still have 2 out there right now under Havana Sun, the new product. And that was a benefit to us because people, the tourists on the beach, would see our sails go by. They go, oh, look, there's Hawaiian Tropic. Oh, look, there's Havana Sun in today's world. So it was a good thing.
Yeah. Now, one of our guests here today, Skip, sitting over there in the corner, he remembers when you used to run up and down the beach in your dune buggy.
That's right.
Hawking your product, yeah.
We had a dune buggy, and we love that dune buggy. It's gone now.
It's gone?
It's gone.
It should be in a museum somewhere, really.
Do you remember the group called? It was. Oh man! Now I've got my first mind blank on this show. I had a girl working for me. Her name was Pam Demick, and her father actually was the manager of the Plaza Hotel. And she went across the street one day and one night and met a singer, a really, really good singer. You might remember. And he sang songs like "You Can Bring Back the Name for Me." Sings like "Traces of Love."
Oh, Dennis Yost.
Dennis Yost,
yeah.
Right. Well, she ended up marrying him.
Right. Classics 4.
Classics 4. That's where I had the mind blank on that. I couldn't think of the name of the group. Classics 4. You might remember their songs. He had like 4 platinum songs. And a good guy, too. Really good guy. And she came out of Kissimmee, Florida. And I would use her in the dune buggy to go up and down the beach to restock the beach wagons with Hawaiian Tropic. And she collected the money in a little zipper pouch. And come the end of the summer, the zipper pouch was empty and she'd spent all the money. So I said, oh no. I said, Pam, what are we going to do? And she said, well, I'll pay you back. I said, okay, I'll trust you. A number of years went by. She got married to Dennis Yost. Finally, his songs turned platinum. He had like 4 in a row, big songs. She pulls up to my house. I was in the old roundhouse up on North A1A at that time. And she pulls up in a big Cadillac, Lincoln Continental, that's what it was, Lincoln Continental. Gets out and hands me $500.
Wow.
And I thought, oh, that's really nice. I mean, you actually came back and paid your debt off. And they ended up having 4 kids. And then they got divorced, and each of them married somebody else with 4 kids. So now they got 12 kids between them.
Oh, gee. Oh, my gosh.
I still stay in touch with her. He died a few years ago, but I stay in touch with her, and she's a great lady.
I'll be darned. That's pretty neat. Life is fascinating the way lives intertwine like that, huh? Yeah.
We keep up with the good people.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, now, when you decided to move south, what drew you to Daytona Beach? You could have gone to any beach, but you ended up in Daytona.
That's a good question. I really first went to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, because that was closer to my hometown in Asheville, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And we went down to Myrtle Beach, and I worked as a lifeguard there on the beach. And then the winter came, it got cold, we had storms coming through, and I said, hey, I got to keep going south. You remember the old movie with John Voight, Midnight Cowboy?
Yeah.
Remember that movie? There's a song in that movie called I'm Going to Where the Weather Suits My Clothes. Well, that's what I did. I got in my car and I drove from Myrtle Beach, kept going south, and Daytona, yep, that's a perfect place. We're going to stop right here. But actually, as a kid, I'd been here before because my grandmother lived in Key West, my mother's mother, and they were originally from Utah. We're all Mormons from Utah. And so I'd go down and visit Grandma, or the family, when we'd get in the back of that big old Hudson. It looked like a pregnant roller skate. And it was an ugly, ugly car. And three kids and my mom and dad in the front, and we'd drive all the way to Key West. And I know we'd stop here in Daytona because my dad knew a friend over on US 1 back in those days. He had a grapefruit grove. And on the way back from visiting my grandmother, we would load the car, every square inch of that, inside that car, we're laying on grapefruits. We got grapefruits on top of it, so the whole trunk is full. The car is carrying so many grapefruits. But boy, we were really popular back at home. When we got back and started giving away those grapefruits to our friends, we were really popular. But going down the beach, what really drew me to Daytona Beach, and I've still got the little green bottle. It's about this tall, square bottle, but about that tall. And I leaned out of the car. My dad wanted to drive down the beach. And he got hollered at for driving over 10 miles an hour. And he didn't like that at all. But I opened the door and I leaned out and I scooped up sand off the beach in my little green bottle, a little empty green bottle. And just about the time I turned back around, his hand came around. He was 1.5 times my size. He was a big guy. His hands, one hand was as big as two of mine.
Jeez.
I got hit in the side of the head with that hand, wham, like that. Knocked me up against the window, and I'm just swimming around. I can see the stars, and I'm swimming around, and I go, what in the world? But I had my little bottle of sand. And I've still got it to this day. It's sitting up in Ormond Beach, and I know right where it is.
Wow. It was kind of almost like an omen.
That's what brought me back.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? Amazing. Yeah, everybody has a story about what brought them here. My dad transferred with his insurance company. Nothing glamorous, but we were old race fans, so he wanted to be near the racing.
Okay.
Worked out pretty well.
Your dad?
Yeah. Yeah, it worked out well. Bill France, he got tired of working on cars in Washington, D.C., where it was cold. And he said, if I'm going to work on cars, I might as well do it where it's warm. So in 1934, he and his wife and little Bill Jr. moved down here.
Smart move.
Yeah, it worked out good for all of us, didn't it?
Where do you live?
We lived originally in New Jersey, but we got out before it rubbed off,
Okay.
Yeah. And then we lived down in Miramar, Florida.
Okay.
And then in '65 we moved to Daytona, and this is, I think, where my father wanted to be all along.
65.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's the year I started teaching school, coaching football. 65.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How about we got here in the same
Mainland.
place? Yeah. Oh, really?
Mainland 65.
We got here at the same time as Ron did, and I look at what we have accomplished in life and what he accomplished in life. There's a little bit of a disconnect there. You've done okay. Yeah, we both did something. That's right. Exactly.
Like I said, if I hadn't lived through it, I would never have believed it could have happened.
Really, it's amazing. But you had the determination, you had the inspiration, and you didn't mind the perspiration, and it all worked out for so many people.
Well, over the years, I managed to hire people to do the perspiration part of it all.
Really? Yeah. Now, when did you build the big building up there on Route 1?
That was in the early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And before I forget, let me introduce my COO of Havana Sun, Matt DeFebo. Stand up, Matt. And
hey, Matt. Great.
He was an executive at UCF, University of Central Florida. And I stole him away from him. And I said, there's a guy that's got a future. And so he's now my #1 man with Havana Sun. And We're in our second year now. So.
Oh, timing is everything, right, Matt? Absolutely.
The only problem with him, he's a gator.
Oh, hey, let's talk. My wife's a
When
Seminole.
people do that, I go like this.
Oh, man. Well, no, so you're still not a volunteer then, are you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you are?
Oh, yeah. My blood runs orange. That's
Oh,
my
geez.
daughter made me that bracelet right there.
Okay.
That's a Tennessee bracelet all the way right there.
I got you. Okay, well, that's all right. Yeah, everybody's got to have something, right?
She makes jewelry. She's a model, and she's a rodeo star. Her mother's ranked 4th in the world in the rodeo circuit, and she's not ranked, but she's doing well in it and doing very good.
Oh, and that's your daughter Sterling.
My daughter Sterling.
Oh,
yeah.
she's magnificent. Well, that's wonderful. Yeah, congratulations. You've done good.
Well, thank you.
We're going to take another break here real quick, folks. We'll be right back, okay?
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Welcome to the Janet Hale Foundation website. With this website, we hope to broaden our reach, to find someone like you to help us on our journey. Janet's journey started 40 years ago to ensure that all children had a toy under the tree at Christmas. Today, thousands of toys and clothing are donated for underprivileged kids. We need your help to continue our journey. Tour this website and find the Donate Now button. A small gesture can make a big difference in a young life. We need your help. Visit us on Facebook, Janet Hale Foundation, or call 386-256-0752. We're back from where it all began, racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim.
And welcome back, folks, from the beautiful North Turn. It feels like summer here, doesn't it?
I believe it is.
I would say. You had mentioned that you had a pretty good story to tell about Hal Needham.
Yeah, I've got a really good story. We did the movie. I guess it must have been Stroker Ace, and he did 2 premieres. Usually movies only do 1 premiere. He did 2. He did one in Hollywood, and he did one in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Well, back in those days, I had 3 jets. I had 3 airplanes, 3 beautiful jets. We owned the air ambulance business that did very, very well. And it was 3 exactly the same Mitsubishi Marquis, and they were quick and they were fast. They could land on short runways. They were inexpensive to operate. They were really, really good planes, a Mitsubishi. Hal had to get back to L.A. in an emergency real quick, and I had my plane sitting up in the North Myrtle Beach airport, and we were way down in South Myrtle Beach. And I told Hal, I said, Hal, I'll get my plane and pilot to fly you down to Columbia, South Carolina, where you can get on your plane to L.A. He said, that's great. That'll help a lot. So you remember a little guy named Alfie Wise? Mm-hmm. He was a funny guy, funny guy. Well, he and Alfie, we got him in a van, and I rode with him up to, I drove him up there actually to the North Myrtle Beach airport. And I had 2 of my top models dressed in little pink polka dot bikinis. And they came out and pulled them out of the car, out of the limousine or whatever we were driving, pulled them out and took them over to the airplane. They couldn't believe their eyes. And here they had 2 stewardesses to fly with them from Myrtle down to Columbia. Well, it was a very short flight. It wasn't much of anything. But Alfie didn't want to go. Alfie wanted to stay with the Needham had to get back. Alfie wanted to stay. He loved those girls in the big polka dot bikinis.
Well, yeah, there's a lot to say about polka dots, that's for sure. But Minnie Mouse wears polka dots. Yeah, I believe she does.
That's okay.
But, pardon me.
That's the wife of the greedy little mouse.
That greedy little mouse?
Greedy little
yeah,
mouse.
I'd say so, yeah. It's pretty greedy, isn't it?
Well, I can't stand it because they charge so much money. The poor kids in this world can't go to the Disney, and I don't like that at all.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what if they got to charge it, I guess they have to.
Yeah. But your team, the Hawaiian Tropic team, was involved in one of the pivotal moments in NASCAR history, the 1979 Daytona 500 and the big fight. Where were you that day?
I was in the pits, waiting for my car to come through and win the race.
Yeah, that's right.
And neither my car nor Cale Yarborough made it around to the pits. They spun out in the between the third and fourth turn. And Richard Petty came on and won another race. He was winning them all the time anyhow. And later I saw the video as to why that happened. And Cale Yarborough and Donnie Ellison got in a big fight back and forth. And Cale said, if I can't win it, you're not going to win it. So neither one of them won it. And I'm waiting in the pits going, where's my car?
Yeah, they did have a little bit of a tussle right after that, didn't they?
They did. They got out and had a big fist fight. And they was Ned Jarrett and some of the announcers there said that was probably the first and most important thing that ever happened in NASCAR.
Yeah, it really became a national sport after that. Yeah, everybody was kind of transfixed on that TV. They had a snow blizzard up the East Coast, and everybody was snowbound for the most part, and there was nothing else to watch on TV. And it was the first live flag-to-flag coverage of the Daytona 500. And man, those guys put on a show with Hawaiian Tropic. Yeah.
They shot, the camera went right across the Hawaiian Tropic car. You could see Hawaiian Tropic perfectly, and there they are fighting in the background. They're fighting right behind.
Yeah. Donnie knew how to get his sponsor's name out there, didn't he?
Well, Donnie did a good job of it. Donnie was a hard charger, and he was a tough guy. He still is to this day. He's a tough guy.
Yeah.
And he got in there and started rousting it up with Cale Yarborough. Cale Yarborough was a Golden Glove boxer. He was a good boxer. But then Bobby jumped in and pushed Donnie out of the way, grabbed Cale and threw him in the ground. And I got pictures of Cale's legs up in the air and his arms up in the air, and he's got this look on his face like he's dying. And Bobby's got him by the neck, pulling him down on the ground, slamming him into the ground. Yeah, Bobby was tough too.
Oh yeah. He said that Cal's nose started beating on his fist.
That happened.
But it worked out good for everybody, though. Well, when we were putting the NASCAR Hall of Fame together a number of years ago, we wanted to have one of the premier moments in NASCAR history for our centerpiece for the top floor, and we felt that race, that event, was probably the biggest thing that happened in NASCAR. So we built replicas of the Cal car and the Donnie car. In fact, Donnie even worked with us to get the right color for the car and all that, and that was prominently figured for the first 6 or 7 years that we were open. And the cars were beautifully replicated with all the dents and the dings and the scratches and everything, and it was one of the premier exhibits, and we were so proud to have Hawaiian Tropic as a part of that.
Well, I'm really glad that Richard Petty won that race, because had we won the race, nobody even remember it happened.
You got your money's worth out of it, didn't you?
What's that?
You got your money's worth out of it.
More than one.
Yeah, but you felt it was a good return on your buck.
That particular one was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Isn't it crazy what's happening now with sponsorship? It's just
I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I knew Big Bill personally. I knew Bill Jr. personally. I knew Brian, Lisa. I grew up with the whole France family. They were just great friends of mine, and still to this day. And on all sides of the France family, they're great people. They're really, really nice people. Honest as day is long.
Yeah, they've done an awful lot for a lot of people, that's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, in North Carolina alone, there's over 25,000 people employed in the auto racing business, and it's good for about $4 billion a year to the economy of North Carolina, just from that one guy that had a vision. Pretty incredible. But yeah, you're kind of cut from that same cloth, though, a guy with a vision, and just worked hard to make it work. You and Big Bill are very similar in that regard.
I knew him well. He was a good guy. And I remember one time we had a meeting over at the over by the fire station. They called me, and they called Big Bill, and they called Bill Jr. and Davison, the owner of the newspaper. And they wanted to know what's going to happen with NASCAR, what is going to happen. And I thought, what's going to happen with Daytona Beach? And we were running really, really good with MTV. MTV in those days were just putting Hawaiian Tropic on the top of the world. And they looked at me, and I had Darcy, my ex-wife, Sterling's mother, with me, and they looked at us and they said, what are you going to do? And I said, well, less than 1/100% of our business is done in Daytona Beach. I can move anywhere. I can move to Stockholm. I can move to South Africa. I can go anywhere. We can sell oil and tropic from anywhere.
Yep.
And then they looked at Bill France Jr. And Bill says, hell, I'll just churn that freeway. What do you call it? Speedway. Yeah. I'll churn that speedway up. We'll move to Darlington. We'll move to Talladega. That's what he said. We'll move to Talladega and just do everything from Talladega. And then the only one left was Davison. And they looked at Davison. He said, well, I got a newspaper in Daytona. I can't move anywhere.
Yeah, the Francis have had to fight their battles here, that's for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we're going to take one more quick break. We'll be right back to wrap it up, okay?
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Racing's original North Turn is our broadcast headquarters. If you're looking for a good drink, great entertainment, and the best in food, they're right on the beach at Racing's original North Turn. Rhonda and Walt invite you to come on down to dinner tonight. Here are a couple of testimonials. These are actual testimonials from people who have enjoyed the North Turn. Been there many times, always great food and drinks, great location on the beach. And another, what a great experience. It's my new favorite restaurant in the Daytona Beach area, Racing's original North Turn on South Atlantic Avenue. That's A1A in Ponce Inlet, about 3.2 miles south of the Dunlawton Bridge and A1A intersection. It's Racing's original North Turn, a restaurant, museum, bar, gift shop, live music. That's Racing's North Turn. Racing's North Turn has been voted by you top 10 beach bar 7 years in a row. Next year, they're going for top 5. We're back from where it all began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim.
Hey, well, we're coming down to the checkered flag, and I got to say, this has been a fantastic hour, and it's gone by too quick, and I got a hunch that we might have barely scratched the surface on your life.
We can come back.
Okay, oh, there you go. Okay, what do you think? Having part 2 one of these days? Would that be all right? That'd be awesome. Fantastic. Yeah, I'll be looking for that book, too. When the book comes out?
Yeah. You'll enjoy that.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, did you change any of the names to protect the innocent or anything?
No,
okay.
no. Everybody's guilty.
Oh, everybody. Okay.
Especially Matt. He's
that
most
guy.
guilty.
Okay. Now, with your new product, would you ever consider sponsoring a NASCAR race car?
We looked at all of the race cars. The only one we didn't sponsor was Formula One.
Really?
And we sponsored virtually every other type of race car in the world there was, but not Formula One. One, because we couldn't get along with Ecclestone. He was such a jerk.
Oh, gee. Yeah.
And he didn't have any races in the U.S. It was very expensive, very little space on the cars. Very expensive, very expensive. So I said, no, we're not going to do Formula One. But we did Indy. We did the Indy circuit, a bunch on that. We did virtually every kind of car there was, except for Formula One.
Yeah. Yeah, F1's a pretty it's a pretty hard sell too in America. It never has quite caught on. Yeah, I don't understand it, but they even tried it at Indy, and it wasn't a real big success. So they tried it at Indianapolis.
No, not at all.
Yeah, just one of those crazy. Some things just don't work. Yeah.
Isn't it amazing to sit here and think that in 1958 the cars were running right down the beach right here, right by this restaurant, and then turn and go up and then down A1A and go back on the beach another mile or two down? Isn't that something?
And no crowd control either.
No.
And no lawyers were involved. No. Sure. Would you like to have been around back then?
I was. Yeah. I saw one.
Really?
I saw the very last one.
I'll be darned. I did not realize that.
And then I actually worked at the Speedway. They let the coaches, the football coaches and so on, put on white suits and wave cars in.
Oh.
Show them where to park. I got $25 a day. I thought that was great.
What a deal.
I was a poor coach. I made no money.
Did he let you watch the race for free?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Sure. You're in there. Well, you're in there, so you...
Yeah. I remember when they used to let the Boy Scouts come in and watch the race, and then they had to clean up the grandstand afterward.
Okay, well, you had to do something. So I can remember seeing Beauchamp and Lee Petty go over the wall on the fourth turn.
Really?
I was sitting up in the grandstands, just sitting in some empty seat. And then in the very next race, Richard Petty went over the first turn wall and rolled out into the flats out there. And I saw all that with my own eyes. And that was I think, 59, if I'm not mistaken.
61.
Was it 61?
Yeah, the only two guys to go over the wall, and it was a father on one end and a son on the other end. How crazy is that, huh?
Yeah, and Beauchamp was the other driver.
Beauchamp, yeah.
We ran down there, and they had to cut the wire to get him out of the car. I think it was Beauchamp they had to get out, or maybe it was Lee Petty they had to get out. I'm not sure.
Boy.
But we watched it happen.
What a mess. In fact, that car that Lee Petty went over the wall with, what's left of it is in a museum up in North Carolina.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's up in, what the heck, Memory Lane Museum up in Mooresville, North Carolina. The Pettys used to bury all their cars. And this one fella, he had a chance to dig up all those old cars. And the first car that Richard ever drove at Daytona, all these cars, they're in bad shape, but they still survive.
I'm surprised they buried them.
Pretty neat deal, huh? It's just amazing. Well, we're coming down toward the end here. Isn't that right, Mr. Poobah? Okay, I'm going to take you out. I'll take you out to lunch as soon as we're done here. How's that? All right. Well, now you can watch us live. I like how he's got live in parentheses, like we're not live, like we're dead, you know. No. You can watch us live or view previous shows on our Facebook page, Legends of Racing Radio Show, or our YouTube channel, Legends of Racing Radio Show, or blogtalkradio.com. Search what? Legends of Racing Radio Show. There you go. And coming soon will be our website. Guess what it's going to be called? Legends of Racing Radio Show. Hey, you're coming along just fine. That's right. Well, we thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to come visit with us, and you just really you've enthralled all of us with your stories, and it is just a life beyond imagination, and we thank you for sharing it with us.
Well, you'll be able to read it in the book one day when we get this book out. We're about 3/4 of the way finished with it right now, and then they're doing a video documentary, so you'll get to see some of it there, and away we go.
Absolutely fantastic. Mr. Ron Rice, Hawaiian Tropic, Havana Sun. Don't forget Havana Sun. Thank you so much.
The Legends of Racing Radio Show originates live from the very spot where beach racing began, Racing's North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. Join us next time for the Legends of Racing Radio Show with Buzz McKim.